Hi everyone, my name is Nick Doyle. Today I am going to talk about why you need to invest now. Let me ask you a question. Would you rather have a cocktail in a restaurant now, or would you rather have a cocktail every year starting 40 years from now? This is a tough question, and it's a question we answer daily with how we spend our money. Money has both a current and a future value. When you spend it now, you give up the opportunity to capture the future value of that money. For example, if you skip that $10 cocktail now and instead invest that money in the US stock market, chances are after 40 years that would grow to over $160 adjusted for inflation. The US stock market has returned roughly 7.2% per year adjusted for inflation. At this rate, your money would double almost every 10 years. And after 40 years, that $10 would grow to over $160. In fact, the 7.2% return on $160 is $11.52 per year, which is more than the original cost of the cocktail. You might be asking, how did we go from $10 to $160 if it takes 10 years for it to double? Well, that's the beauty of compound interest. And I'm going to illustrate this by counting some beans. This is a dried chickpea. If we were to invest this and double it after 10 years, we would end up with 2 chickpeas. And if we were to invest both of those chickpeas for another 10 years, we would end up with 4 chickpeas. If we were to do the same after another 10 years, we would end up with 8 chickpeas. If we were to do the same for another 10 years, we would end up with 16 chickpeas. And if we were able to do that for another 10 years, we would end up with 32 chickpeas. We're able to go from 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16 to 32. This is the power of compounding. This is why you need to start investing now. The earlier you start, the earlier you can put your money to work for you. Very few people will be successful with get-rich-quick ideas. Most people instead get rich slowly over time. And it's due to this nature of compound interest. Let's consider one of the richest people in the world, Warren Buffett, for example. This is Warren Buffett's net worth over time in billions of dollars. You can see after decades of investing, he is worth over $80 billion. Hold on a second, this chart makes it look like Warren Buffett barely had any money until he became a billionaire around age 50. This is the beauty of compounding. After a while, your returns are so large, it makes the original amount look like almost nothing. Let's compare this side by side to a logarithmic scale, where the y-axis goes up by 10x for each line. You can see that by age 30, Buffett was worth nearly $10 million. He didn't go out and blow it on a Lambo or a mansion. He took that money and he reinvested it, and that has earned him so much more over time. It's interesting, even by age 20, he was worth over $100,000. He started out in his youth earning money by delivering papers or selling candy and other items door to door. He was earning just pennies. Instead of spending that money, he chose to invest it. And by his early 20s, he was worth over $100,000, and now today is one of the richest people in the world. Over 70 years of compounding. Can you imagine how much those pennies he earned are now worth? And probably more than most people's net worth. There are 2 extremes when it comes to saving and investing. On one hand, you have YOLO. And this is the concept of you only live once. You could get hit by a bus tomorrow, so you better live it up now and smash as many like buttons as possible. And on the other hand, you have people who will sacrifice everything now and invest it all for the future. And this is so they can hopefully smash far more like buttons later. Odds are you will live to age 71. And this is because that is the average life expectancy in the world. Well, you should definitely spend money now on things that you really enjoy. You should also be responsible and invest money for the future. You may even do better than the average and live over age 90, like my grandpa who is 96. You don't want to get to this age and not be able to live comfortably or get the medical care that you need because you didn't plan for it and make small sacrifices when you were younger. You could take saving money to the extreme. Like you could live in your parents' basement and only spend money on your monthly World of Warcraft subscription. If you are young, this actually might be a pretty good idea to get you started. In fact, maybe I should consider that. You need to recognize what provides you value and meaning, and you should spend money on those. However, you need to avoid the trap of wasting money on things that really don't matter. If you go through your budget and look at how you're spending your money, I bet you can come up with $100 or even $500 a month to invest. And that's probably without even sacrificing much from your quality of life. Sure, random or foolish people may be less impressed with your appearance, but who cares about them? Let's say you start doing this at age 25 and you're able to invest $400 per month in the S&P 500 index fund. And let's say you invest this in the Roth IRA. If you continue investing that $400 per month for 40 years in the S&P 500 and it averages the same returns it has, you will have over $1 million. If you were to follow the generally recommended safe withdrawal rate of 4%, meaning you take 4% of the portfolio each year, you can spend $40,000 per year from this portfolio for the rest of your life. And you would still have a significant amount of that portfolio left to leave your children for inheritance. Come on, it's not that hard to come up with $400 per month to invest. The longer you wait to start, the more it will take to save for a good retirement. If you start at age 35 instead of 25, it will take roughly $825 per month to reach $1 million by retirement. If you wait till age 45, it will take roughly $1,950 per month. And if you delay it even longer and wait until age 55, it will take nearly $6,000 per month to save $1 million by retirement. This is why you can't afford to wait. You need to start investing early and you need to invest every month. It will never be easier. I will give you 5 ideas on how to get started with this. Let's start with the biggest item. Number 1, your house. A lot of people, when they're looking at rental properties or buying a house, they think, oh, an extra $100 or $200 a month, that's not really that big of a deal. However, it is a big deal. If you take $200 every month and invest it for 40 years, you'll end up with over $500,000. And number 2 is the second highest expense in most people's lives, and this is their car. Now, I know a lot of people like having nice cars or fast cars or fancy cars, and they really derive a lot of value from this. However, most people don't, and they probably just buy that fancy car so that they can look cool when they're driving around or show it off to their friends. I think people waste a lot of money on cars. And it's really easy when you're buying or leasing a car to think, oh, an extra $100 or $200 a month. Now, what's the purpose of a car? A car is meant to get you reliably from point A to point B. That's it. Nothing else. So why are people spending money so they can look cool when they're driving around? All you need to do is go from point A to B. You can easily get a reliable used Toyota or Honda for $10,000 to $15,000. You could probably drive that car for more than 5 years without really putting much money into it. I think the ideal is buying a car that's 1 to 3 years old that's used, and this is because the value of a car depreciates the most in the first couple of years. And even the minute you drive a car off the lot, it depreciates by 10 to 20%. Now, it's not horrible to get a new car if you buy a reasonable car and get a good interest rate on it. However, you need to avoid getting carried away and upgrading to luxury cars or Teslas. That extra $10,000 to $20,000 that you spend on a car, if you were to invest that for 40 years, that would turn into $160,000 to $320,000. That's a lot of money. And it doesn't really provide any more value. Number 3 is your cell phone. It blows my mind how much money people waste on cell phones. Alternatively, if you instead buy your phone on discount when new ones are starting to come out, this usually happens in October or November, you can pick up a great phone for $400. Additionally, there are plans like Google Fi where you only pay for the data you use. If you download podcasts or music before you leave home instead of streaming them, you can probably cut your data down to almost nothing. Let's say you use 1.5 gigs of data. This would make your monthly phone bill $35, and factoring in the cost of your $400 phone, you would be at roughly $50 per month with tax. This $50 per month has a future value of $125,000. Is it really worth it to have the latest iPhone and stream music and podcasts instead of downloading before you leave home? Number 4 is dining out. This is one I struggle with. It's hard. There are a couple ways of approaching this. You could go out fewer times, or you could spend less money each time you go out. Let's say your average dinner for 2 with drinks is roughly $50. Let's say you do this twice per week. This is about $400 per month. How about you still go out for a good meal once a week, and for the second one, go to a restaurant like Qdoba or Chipotle. And this can cut your cost of the second meal from $50 to $16, which turns into $136 per month. If you invest this instead, that would be $350,000 40 years from now. The last one, number 5, is my favorite hack. This is credit card rewards. This is something my dad got me started on, and he's had over 50 credit cards in the past couple of years. My wife and I last year made over $5,000 from credit card rewards. This is a combination of sign-up bonuses where you get a bonus for spending a certain amount of money on a credit card in the first 3 months, and then you just pay it off. And then you take other money you're already spending and you get a reward rate of 2 to even up to 10% depending on what you're buying. We use this to subsidize our travels, and we get a couple free trips per year out of this. Every purchase we make, we get a minimum of 2.25% back. On some cards, it can even go up to 10%. Right now, I'm getting 7.5% back on groceries. Let's take a really simple example that nearly anybody should be able to do. If you spend $1,000 per month and you aren't getting credit card rewards, if you take that and spend it on a reward credit card, let's say the Fidelity cashback credit card, it gives a 2% return on every purchase. For that $1,000 that you're already spending, you could be getting $20 per month in credit card rewards. If you invest that $20 per month in a Fidelity index fund, you could end up with over $50,000 40 years from now. If you spend more money or even game the sign-up bonuses like I do, you could make out even better than this and probably end up with over $100,000 if you're investing it for your retirement. Now, there are a couple areas I advise against cutting costs too much, and these are in eating healthy food and getting exercise. These are things where it might seem like you're saving money now, but it's going to cost you far more in the future in health consequences. Be smart about this. And no, you don't need an $80 per month lifetime membership. You can easily go buy a squat rack for $300 and get an entire workout with a squat rack. or you could sign up for a gym like Planet Fitness if you want to use some of the other equipment. In addition to the 5 I already mentioned, there are probably numerous smaller items that you can find savings on, like $5 or $10 or even $20 a month. And those add up to a lot of money. Even if you can get it up to $50 per month, that can grow to $125,000 over 40 years. It's important to get started now, and no amount is too little. You need to invest early and you need to invest often. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you learned something about compound interest and the future value of money. I hope you can put this to work for you and get the powerful results. Please comment below on some tips or hacks you have for saving and investing more. And don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe so my future content lands in your inbox. Later.